Well, hello xenographers everywhere and welcome to another episode. Until very recently, it seemed old school lenses of the all manual variety were a thing of the past. Although given a new lease of life by digital mirrorless cameras and still as capable of great results as they always were, the design philosophy seemed outdated. And it seemed that they'd been surpassed by more modern glass with autofocus, stabilization, and lots of modern digital magic. If you've watched this channel before, you'll probably know that I love old manual lenses. I've used very little else since getting into mirrorless a few years ago. But these lenses are old, and, especially if you buy online, you never quite know what you're going to get. Worn coatings and glass, oily aperture blades, dried out lubricants, and a bit of haze and fungus thrown in are all potential pitfalls in the world of old manual lenses. But wait a minute, hold the horses, what's this? Could it be a new cheap manual lens? This is the Kamlan 50mm f1.1. Not since the days of Helios, Jupiter and Industar have cheap, quality lenses been available new. Thanks to a surge of new releases from manufacturers like Seven Artisans, Mitacon, Kamlan and Niwa, there are loads of new manual lenses around. The Kamlan 1.1 is an APS-C and micro 4/3 lens, and it won't cover a full-frame sensor. So, although I'm using it on a full-frame camera, I've got it set to APS-C, where this lens behaves as a 70mm with an effective maximum aperture of about f1.6. On micro 4/3 it behaves as a 100mm lens with an effective maximum aperture of about f2. I've read online that this lens is a bit rough and not well made, but I'm pleased to report that, in my experience at least, that just isn't the case. The declicked aperture ring at the back turns very smoothly and feels nicely engineered. It needs a little pressure, but it's nicely damped, and the motion is smooth and fluid. It's great for video because you can easily make very fine adjustments during shooting. The focus ring at the front of the lens is similarly smooth, fluid and well engineered, with a real quality feel. Tolerances are tight with no discernible play anywhere. It's far better in this respect than Russian lenses. This almost unworn Jupiter 8 isn't quite as tight. I can't comment on how well it will wear over time, but right now it feels very nice indeed. As for the optical quality, well, it seems pretty good to me. As far as I can tell, it's a sonar design, and that makes sense. It does give plenty of sonar-style bubbles. And looking at the images from the Jupiter 8, you can see there's a clear similarity. Contrast is a little muted, as you might expect in a sonar design, and colours are on the cool side, just like the Jupiter. Colours from this lens have plenty of pop, and overall the lens has plenty of character. It does fringe a bit, and light areas of a shot can bleed into dark areas. There's very little vignetting, and it's much better than the Zuiko 1.4 and the Pentax 1.4 in this respect. But all of this is kind of by the by. The real purpose of this lens is blur. And that is a commodity of which this lens is not short. It's got bucketfuls of it. It's got container trucks full of it. It is by no means short of the blurry stuff. But is it nice blur? Is it as delicious as a Jupiter or a Helios? Is it as dreamy as a Zuiko 1.4 or as magical as a Scimitar? Well, it can be pretty nice. But in the final analysis, I don't think it's quite as nice. It's a little bit busy, it's a little bit harsh, and it's more difficult to find the magic than it is with some of the older lenses. This lens has been criticised for not being too sharp wide open, and that may very well be true. Does it lose a bit wide open? Of course it does, but in real world images it's sharp enough. What counts is the impression, the feel of the image, and a pixel's worth of softness here and there really makes no odds whatsoever. So the lens isn't perfect. So why should we shoot it? Well, there are plenty of reasons for that. It's cheap. You get lots of bang for your buck. This lens retails at around about £110 to £120. It's fun. No autofocus is no real problem, especially with focus peaking, even shooting at f1.1. Manual aperture's no problem at all, especially if, like me, you tend to shoot wide open in aperture priority anyway. It's perfect for mirrorless cameras. They are ideally suited to using manual lenses. And with one of these on a mirrorless camera, it feels to me like real photography. If, like me, you're of a certain age and grew up in the film days, manual lenses on a mirrorless camera feel familiar and give you the best of both worlds. And if you're not of a certain age and didn't grow up in the film days, the purer experience of using a manual lens is, I'm glad to say, one that many young photographers find liberating. All in all, I like this lens a lot. It's cheap, it's brand new, it's well made, and it's f1.1. What's not to like? If you get the chance, buy one and try one. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. So that's it from me for now. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you've found it useful. Please do like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed so far. And I will see you next time for some more Zenography. Bye bye for now.